Yeah,
Looking
for
at
sure.
these civs, we have Abbasid HRE versus Delhi Malians. This is definitely an interesting one. Delhi and Abbasid, quite a tough matchup. Mali and HRE normally goes to the Malians, but of course we're not in two separate 1v1s, unless that's how they choose to play it, but I wouldn't expect it. Golden Heights obviously has the pond out to the right. It only has 4 fish. That's true no matter what size the map's on. Probably not that big of a deal in 2v2s. We'll have to see if they went for it. All right, where do you want to meet up on, Nomad?
Bali. Ravan. Hami Jombang.
Nomad?
Ari.
That's fine, ladies and gentlemen. We're just off to a slow start here. Obviously, Crackedy picking up the sheep in middle. We saw that RecoN actually did go for fishing, which it is a way to get ahead in eco. Even if it isn't a lot, it will pay off the longer the game goes on.
Hami Jombang.
Even in 2v2s, you want to find every edge you can. We have Abbasid and Molly on the inside. Molly, not concerned with fishing to begin with. Probably not too heartbroken that he's away from the fishing. Closer to the sacred site. What is interesting is this map looks like
Bali.
the players are quite spread out from their teammates. This is actually going to be one map where they take quite a bit of time in order to get their armies over to each other's bases if they see aggression in order to coordinate assaults. And that may lead to a bit more individualistic play from all 4 of the players in this matchup. There may be fewer combined arms and more just you take the guy across from you and I'll take the guy across from me. Meanwhile,
Right, cool. I'm back. Did you want to catch up, shall we, or it's up
yes,
to you?
what
do you
time
want
would you like to coordinate at?
to do? What do you think's best?
5 minutes?
Yeah, let's do that. Cool. I'm speeding up to there now.
At least 5 minutes, because we're looking at some early feudal. Actually, we're looking at some early feudal aggression. Not feudal, Dark Age. We will talk about it when we get there.
Yeah, cool. And then I need to end the prediction as well.
Yeah. All right, I'm at 5 minutes. I'll wait for you.
Yeah, cool.
And you are looking at the important part, which is right off the bat, RecoN decided to commit to water. He got the dock up. It looked like Crackedy wasn't going to go for fishing, but then Crackedy, we can hit start, by the way.
Yeah, cool. Starting.
Crackedy ended up deciding that he would counter dock. He came down with military, and he's managed to burn out RecoN's fishing, actually, and taken over the pond. On the north side, Baltune going with early walls around his base. Probably expected the military wing, which did come in, and that meant early units to harass from TheMista. It's curious to see if these teams are going to put more emphasis on fighting on the left side or the right. That can really affect how engagements work, because along the left side you have the cliff side, you have high ground, the walls become more of a factor, whereas if people fight in the middle or towards the fishing, it's more open ground, you're less likely to run into walls. And if one of the civilizations goes with cavalry, going to be quite easy for armies to get caught out and run down.
Yep.
Speaking of, I found those military wing units. They've actually gone from the left side to the right. They were probably intending to help save the dock for for RecoN, but as I noted while you were busy with technical issues, this map is actually so wide in 2v2 that it takes quite some time for units to run across the map to go support your allies' base.
Yeah.
So
I think that's something
he
I've
may
noticed.
have meant to help there, but was unable to.
No, for sure. I think they're almost. I feel like they're almost a little bit too large. I think Canal is really, really big. Certainly the islands people are on. This I have played a few times on 2v2s. Actually, have I? Yeah, I think no, we have. Yeah, me and Quill have played this a couple of times, and I don't remember it being this large. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's maybe just observing it with everything revealed. It does seem a bit larger, but.
امسوی بر اسب همی روم سواره خواهم رفت
All right, let's sort these points out.
Oh, one moment.
الرامي يتحرك أنا ذاهب بدء التحرك.
So yeah, complete dominance from Crackedy there on the water, which is nice to see for Crackedy, particularly anyway.
Yeah.
The odd Ghazi Raider raiding around as well.
أيها الرماحون سيروا.
There we go. Just had to
I sorted it,
add
nice
in
one.
something. Help you out.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate that.
جاهز للعب.
اینک همی جنبم خواهم کرد
So,
Do you think the game? Oh, okay. We've got a Burgrave coming down from RecoN, who has lost the water, so he won't have the water supporting this Burgrave. Although he has already started his farm transition, which is turning up quite nicely. Not that many on wood anymore, though, so that will diminish. But he still does have a fair few sheep, and the men-at-arms are pumping out. However, it looks like Crackedy will already have wind of this happening. He knows that the Burgrave is inbound. I wonder what he might do to react. Baltune's also catching his... Yep, so we've got the Farimba garrison. Nice. So we've got Burgrave on one side, Farimba garrison on the other. Shaping up to be a very violent castle outing.
So, obviously, you would think that you need the fishing in order to support the Burgrave. That's kind of true. But here, we may be seeing a reverse of the situation. He may have chosen the Burgrave specifically so that he could go deny and then reclaim the fishing. We'll have to see where the men-at-arms go. That may not be what he chooses. He will want to get those Castle Age upgrades in, because obviously Crackedy's got Ghazi Raiders. Ghazi Raiders have a bonus versus armor, which means they're quite punishing if you don't get your numbers up and decide to go into Men-at-Arms. We do see spears being added in from the Burgrave as well. So they are, it looks like Dark Age spears. He hasn't remembered to grab the upgrade yet. I would recommend that immediately. Otherwise, they're not going to do much, even against this mass of Ghazi Raiders. And I'm not sure what the target is right now. Okay, he was chased away from the base for a moment because his units autoed onto the Ghazi Raiders, but it looks like his plan is to go for eco damage. He rerouted, went for villagers. The Ghazi Raiders, meanwhile, ran past and also went for eco damage. These two aren't even trying to trade masses right now.
No.
They're simply trying to hold each other down.
One with a lot more of a mobile force than the other.
Side, every unit coming out of that Farumba is headed towards the right side. So it looks like Crackedy and Baltune have decided that they're just going to push the HRE. This is where the fight's going to be. TheMista, meanwhile, he must have talked with RecoN. RecoN must have said, I lost water, but don't worry about it. I'm gonna hold him up my end of the bargain. And so TheMista has gone 3 TC. Even though he's military wing, even though he's an age back still, he's just booming at the moment. And it's interesting to see what he's going to convert that to, because if it takes too long, then Crackedy and Baltune's aggressive playstyle here might end up just pushing them too hard before his eco boom can kick in. Now that said, TheMista has sent some units to the north, and they're currently intercepting Baltune's Farumba units. So he may be trying to counter raid on himself now.
Yeah, which
again,
is... Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
It's led to this interesting situation where almost no one was trying to engage their mass. Although, as I said that, RecoN and Baltune finally engaged right in the center. And despite having Musa Fadi, that actually ended up being a pretty favorable trade for RecoN. Possibly because the reinforcements were intercepted, Baltune wasn't able to get the advantage there.
Yeah, and then RecoN was happy to take that trade. Obviously, the Mr. Fadi's traded amazingly into the men-at-arms, but when there was that many men-at-arms, he was kind of like, yeah, happy to take that, let's go for it. With, you know, Baltune, with the TheMista, like you say, intercepting those Mr. Fadi raids coming in, which is, yeah, it's just so devastating against men-at-arms.
Meanwhile, in an immediate counterpunch, that army that Baltune sent to harass, that TheMista sent to harass Baltune, trying to poke and prod this Mali base, ended up getting caught out by the Ghazi raiders of Crackedy. So just as soon as one side lost an army, they managed to take an army away from the other, and they're back to square one on these fights. And we actually have an interesting mirror now where Crackedy's Ghazis are riding south towards TheMista's base alongside RecoN's men-at-arms who are sprinting back to defend against any raids. Gonna be interesting to see what happens here. I think Red and Teal have decided to try to push a combined arms into Mista's base. Mista has seen that though and is putting up a full palisade wall at this point. So,
yeah, and some units defending it on the opposing side. So, yeah, I think they've had enough of the Mista being sat back with his TCs with a little army, and they've gone, no, we're not having that.
yeah. What's interesting is that obviously static emplacements not usually as good as having a standing army. And this is quite a lot of static emplacements. But this is also such an insanity maze of walls that it's going to, just in order to get to the TCs, Crackedy and Baltune had to commit quite deep, and their armies aren't able to run out again. They are now trapped in here, doomed to die.
Yeah, with no reinforcements in sight, and like you say, doomed to die by the RecoN mass that has had enough time because they've had to run so far around to get involved. There is some Ghazi still running around the base, but what damage they'll do probably won't be that significant with 3 spearmen following them, and looks like they're going to sweep them up now.
Yeah, they have taken the sacred sites. After this recent loss of mass, it's going to be interesting to see if they can hold them. Naturally, the best way to do that is to keep the aggression on, and so uncowed by their recent defeat, Baltune is sending Musa Fadi in to raid the base of Crackedy. They didn't find villagers from Mista. They're going to see if they can find them from RecoN. I don't know what. I said Crackedy, I meant RecoN. Crackedy is also here. So, it's simple. They've taken a win con, and they want to make their opponents too busy to try to deny that win con.
Yeah, and this keep, the blueprint of the keep next to the TC is daunting. Okay, it's been removed. Where are the villagers? What are they? Okay, they're going a little bit more conservative.
He removed the blueprint. He knew that it wasn't going to happen. There it is.
But you look at this. This secures potentially two more keeps for him with the stone he can get from here. So I almost prefer this drop.
It's also within range for Siege to hit the Burgrave. This is a jumping off point for future attacks, as well as a point that allows them to secure resources.
Yeah.
So At this point, Crackedy and Baltune are going to focus on pure aggression, which I think is the right call. The answer is, are they going to keep it up for 10 minutes? And if they can't, will that spell the end for them? Let's see. Their attack mostly thwarted here, but the same comes for the counterpunch. The keep allows them to keep that ground they've gained. They're working on the stone, as you said, likely so they can drop more keeps and just sort of inch in closer to this base. The Sacreds are currently just out of mind for the for the defenders. There's a single spear trying to take the left Sacred. I would assume that Baltune is quick to respond to that. If not, it would be terrible. It would be quite a waste, in fact, if they gave up this win con, which is currently something that's got to be plaguing the minds of their opponents.
I agree. Yeah, they're going to have to do something. I mean, difficult for. I mean, Baltune looks so committed over this side, but the Frimba can pump out onto that left Sacred at any time. But and like you said, in their minds as well, Nanny. Look at that. So they're going for more keeps potentially, and like you say, he's in range now, Treb range potentially if he's going to go for one of the Burgrave, and that would be great to get that down. 4 barracks as it is.
So, yeah, Baltune is sieging down this tower, not incredibly high priority, but he baits out the emergency repairs, which is wonderful because you'd hate for that to be used on something more valuable. The tower goes down anyway. They drop this forward keep, which will deny the Burgrave and the home TC. It might even hit some of the farms. This keep is potentially going to be devastating. And with the Mangonel and the Musafati and the Elephants, it doesn't matter that RecoN is sitting on, 10 men-at-arms, 6 land snakes. He doesn't feel he can deny this.
We've got a villager off on the left Sacred as well. TheMista was on it. He actually pulled his villager away, otherwise I think he might have been able to get the decap in. The tower has been stopped being built. Oh,
so
brilliant.
Both teams have been minimally committing to this left Sacred. First there was a Scholar. The Scholar got run off by 1 spear. The spear actually got run off by a single archer, or by a single Musafati. Then the Musafati left. Then they brought up a tower, and the tower got run off by this single man-at-arm, who is now... His decap was denied by the villager because he was on hold position. Otherwise, he could have just killed the villager. And now he has been denied by Musafati. So it's been the strangest back and forth there, with the only result really being a small delay to the timer.
Yeah. But this forward push is looking extremely destructive.
Yeah, the most important thing is I don't think the timer matters. Right now, there's a very high chance that this push, or straight into the heart of RecoN's base, will be the finishing blow of this game.
Yeah, like virtually all farms are offline. There is a big defending army. We've got a Treb out as well. But yeah, the Burgrave's going down.
I said it could be over. That doesn't mean that it is. We see they're trebbing the keep while villagers repair. They've put together a couple of rams who are going to go in when the time is right, and they're massing up troops, and they're just trying to get a critical mass to make sure that they can finish this in one go. That said, their eco's being harassed by knights on the right side. On the left side, that Sacred did get decapped, so this base is now their sole concern.
Yeah. Yeah,
but
you can see as well, Mr. in the north.
Something like 21 farms around this TC and this Aachen that they've lost. That's 1,500 wood worth of investment. All the villagers that have been scared away. One landmark's down and 2 are under threat. So this is going to be the deciding moment.
But, oh my god, that's Mangonel's one-shotting that Springle. Also, just to add, up in the north, a lovely kind of use, like sort of 2 birds, 1 stone is he's getting raided by annoying army of mostly spearmen. So what does he do?
Yeah,
He's ready
this
to
is
go
the
to imp.
mass
He
that
drops the
managed to
fort.
take the sacred back finally.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Which is going to be a real annoyance in this base when he's concentrating on the north. So what does he do? Drops the Fortress of the Hunches, his Imperial landmark in the center of his base. Doesn't even have to worry about up here anymore, really.
Yeah, you know the most interesting thing about this is that if you look at Baltune's base, there are hardly any villagers here. He's
Nope.
just said, you know what? I'm not even worried about it. I'm moving my whole eco towards the middle. And I'm committing to this push on the right side. So at this point, even if these spearmen did dive looking for a wood line, looking for a gold pit, there's nothing to be found. Baltune has decided that he won't have their push eventually gutted by some back door. So it's very interesting.
Exactly, and I do like that method as well. When you're being that aggressive and you can just go, actually, I'm just going to bring all my villagers to the middle, and it's almost sometimes done sort of subconsciously because you're being that aggressive and you're using them to build keeps or build forward infrastructure or hit mines or whatever it may be. And yeah, there's not really anything back at home, but there's now a keep there to defend it anyway.
Yeah, the only thing back there was 8 villagers left on a deer pack, and those villagers did get found by the spearmen, so there is a little bit of risk here. He runs them back to the Fortress of the Hunt that you called out immediately. But now, running around the wood line, Mista saying, hey, where'd everybody go? Bingo? And his spearmen are going to make the long trek to middle now, just trying to find out what we already know, which is that Crackedy and Baltune have combined ecos back here where they believe things are safer. Speaking of, the TC went down for RecoN. They pushed in further, and surprisingly, RecoN throws up Swabia, which isn't a terrible idea because it means he still has villager production, even after losing that starter TC. It's not ideal, but when the fight's already consumed half your base, you have to make do.
Yeah.
The elephant mass did end up fighting here. It looks like they've currently gotten a bit of an edge. I would say they probably clean this up, to be honest. I don't think that I think RecoN's going to keep losing by baby steps at this point until they find this Swabia, and I think that may end up being the game. But even as I say that, Crackedy does pull his elephants back a bit, just waiting for his teammate to mass up again and reunite with him most likely. And there's no reason to dive too deep when their houses, there are 3 relics just sitting there that RecoN didn't manage to evacuate. There's plenty for him to destroy without putting his army at risk. And that's something you'll see at this high level. A lot of the time, other people will get blinded, but if you're a pro, you remember that over here on the left side, this is damage, but if I do this damage, I lose value. My army might die. Over here on the right side, I'm killing houses, I'm killing buildings, I'm stealing relics, and he lost 0 units for it. That is gaining value and losing nothing. So that's how you want to play this game anytime you see an opportunity like that. And here comes a wave of spears from Mista, but they're far too late, and Crackedy just pulls the elephants back.
Yeah.
Like I said, he avoids the engagement, because even if he won the engagement, he would lose value there. And he says, I don't need to do that. I've gained what I could gain. I'm 3 relics richer. Let's get out of here.
Oh, I missed the swipe. Yes, you got the... Nice. I didn't even see him get them there. Fair play. And now they've... yeah, now they're like, right, we need to cripple Mista a bit. Although this will then let RecoN get back online.
Look at these mangoes. This is, once again, this is what you look for. A soft spot where you trade out almost nothing and you take out a critical part of your opponent's eco. Mista and RecoN do react quickly this time. A couple of mangoes get sniped out, but even that does nothing. This is a slaughter again. The Keep is doing a good job of firing back. They're not gonna walk away unbloodied, but I think the Elephants and the Culverns have definitely gotten the edge in this engagement.
Some counter culverins, and we're seeing a big raid coming in as well from Spearman into the base of Crackedy, which is wide open. He did walk past, annoyingly, for him anyway, the gold bills, and there isn't, again, similar to Baltune's base, there isn't much here to kill.
Yeah, no, both of them have thought about where they're likely to get raided, and they've actually moved away from it. If you look over at Baltune's base, he let that whole gold pit mine get taken out by a single ram. And the reason was there were 0 villagers at risk, and he just said, I've got more important things to worry about. You can have, 2, 3, 4, 8 houses. Meanwhile, I'm going to be taking your entire allied base.
Oh, interesting. Tribute was just sent to Crackedy from Baltune. I wonder what he sent him. Let's have a look. Crackedy. Oh, Crackedy, was it I think it was received? Oh, I've forgotten now. It was either received or sent. Yeah, it was sent to Baltune, I think. Baltune's, I'm guessing it was food.
Yeah, checking their ecos. Crackedy is floating quite a bit right now. Baltune has actually spent almost everything he has. It makes sense that they're going to help each other out.
Yeah, and 0 food bills as well, and no cows.
Yep. I do think the main reason he isn't on food at the moment is that he's gone siege, and he's still using the Farumba as his main source of infantry. So he's pumping out units 5 at a time and supporting them with that massive culverns we saw. So it's quite an interesting army comp. The best thing you can say too is that it's supported by the elephants, so who's going to dare try to ride in on this artillery mass? You can't really ride knights around, you're just gonna get killed by the elephants. We see culverns on both sides now. There are 3 in the base of TheMista. There are 5 sitting under the keep of Crackedy. And both sides know that the moment they lose this artillery mass, they're going to lose another big step of ground.
Yeah, it's a huge artillery mass. 3 bombers, 1 mangonel, and 5 culverins. I mean, this is it. This is why he can sit on 0 food, is because all of his. He is rather low on
siege
population,
doesn't require food. That's
exactly
the beauty of it. And the Farumba units are made with pure gold.
Yeah.
What I do find interesting is that part of what makes this siege comp good is Crackedy has gone into elephants. Not something we see too often at the pro level, but the elephants with their lower movement rate aren't going to run ahead of the siege. They're actually quite complementary to the army of his teammate.
Yeah, and when you're microing all around and not necessarily, it's not your army you're controlling it. Yeah, I like that idea. It slowly moves with that army that potentially you're not even looking at. You're hoping your teammate tells you, oh, actually move the elephants back, or oh, move them forward. You'd have to do that a lot less with a slow army.
Yep. And we've moved into a bit of a slower part of the game here. Only slower for a minute, I'll suspect, because both sides see a keep across the way here in middle. They say, I don't want to push into that yet. Let me grab the artillery to deal with that static defense. And I think it's going to be that simple. Yeah, you can see the cannons moved up now. And as soon as the keep goes down, we'll see what may be the final fight of this game.
Well,
Because,
yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that, you know, you got to bear in mind, we haven't seen a purple unit in a fight for quite a while. Mista is doing a stellar job here of a 2v1 defense and holding the ground. And, you know, will we see RecoN coming in soon? I mean, I see a big army of men-at-arms coming up. I mean, if you look at the purple just on the map, he's completely rebuilt his base and is back online. Like, you know, I mean, score-wise, he's well back in. So yeah, I think we're going to see RecoN entering back into the fight here.
Yeah, and that's the power of Swabia, right? He lost his main TC. He didn't have a second. For a second, it was reasonable to assume that he was dead, but HRE have this beautiful landmark equal to something like 3 TCs, and with it, the moment the pressure was let off, he managed to get himself up to 200 population, and however this game turns out, you can't say that he was dead at the end or that he wasn't participating still. Let's see.
And now it's been opened out now. So now RecoN is now making them fight on 2 fronts. Elephants, Sultan Elephants as well, which you've got to love to see, are being pulled to the south. So now Mista is probably, I imagine, going to have a much stronger and easier time taking control of the middle now that you know, there's that burning sort of thought that, you know, that shit, Crackedy's in the south now. Sorry, Crackedy, RecoN's in the south now. So yeah, fighting on 2 fronts. They are now repositioning back into the center to regain that fight. But you know, like you say, elephants are slow, and Mista's already made a bit of headway.
There's something very important here because this fight in the middle, despite the siege superiority, it didn't end up going Baltune's way because Crackedy did go to the south as you called out. And the moment they were split up, Baltune's siege actually got rushed down. This looks like a 2v1 now. I don't see reinforcements coming in from Baltune because he's been using that for Roomba and not setting up proper infrastructure.
Yep.
So this might actually be a massive turnaround. The elephants are dying now. There's a steady stream of spears and men-at-arms. And yeah,
Whoa.
Crackedy and Baltune see the writing on the wall as well.
Whoa.
After having such a dominant position for so long, wiping out the Mista's base, they ended up gathering siege in the middle. And in a moment where they separated their armies, RecoN and Mista saw their opportunity,